In a dramatic turn of events during the 2026 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles, under the watchful eye of General Manager Howie Roseman, delivered a moment that fans will not soon forget. As the draft unfolded at Acrisure Stadium, amidst the roars of Steelers fans, Roseman executed a bold move to leapfrog Pittsburgh and snag the highly coveted Makai Lemon. This audacious play not only left fans buzzing but also set the stage for what many believe is the imminent departure of A.J. Brown. The whispers are growing louder, with speculation suggesting that a trade could be finalized as soon as June 1st. So, where are you watching from today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, especially regarding this intriguing maneuver by the Eagles. However, while the excitement of adding Lemon is palpable, it casts a shadow over the glaring needs on Philadelphia's defensive line. That's right, despite the high-profile addition of offensive talent, the Eagles failed to adequately address what is arguably their most pressing roster issue. This has been a consistent theme during the offseason, and it's a concern that fans can't ignore. The Eagles need reinforcements on the defensive front, and as we head into 2026, it's painfully clear that the once fearsome defensive line is not what it used to be. The Eagles have been on a remarkable run since 2022, racking up 4 consecutive seasons with double-digit wins, including a Super Bowl victory. But all good things come with an expiration date, and the cracks started showing in 2025 when Philadelphia ranked a lackluster 20th in rushing yards allowed and 12th in sacks. Losing key players like Cooper DeJean and Jalen Phillips to free agency only exacerbated the situation, leaving the team thinner on the defensive front than ever before. While the Eagles do return stalwarts like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, the situation is troubling. Their edge rushers combined for a mere 9.5 sacks last season, and the additions of Jonathan Greenwood and Arnold Ebiketie, who managed only 5 sacks collectively, do not inspire confidence. The depth behind Carter and Davis is almost non-existent, with fans left hoping that improving names like Ty Robinson and Byron Young can step up in a major way. The desperation reached such a level last season that the Eagles even coaxed 38-year-old Brandon Graham out of retirement. This is not the path to sustained success. In a draft that could have been a turning point for the Eagles' defense, Roseman made the perplexing decision to focus primarily on offensive players with his first 5 picks. Yes, the need for offensive weapons was justified given last season's struggles, but the delay in addressing the defense was a critical misstep. By the time the Eagles turned their attention to their defensive needs, it was the 7th round, where they selected the intriguing but unproven UAR Bernard, a Nigerian prospect who has never played football, alongside New Mexico edge rusher Keyshawn James Newby. While both have potential, neither is a guaranteed contributor at this level. The choice to draft pass catchers with their top picks, including tight end Eli Stowers, the 2025 John Mackey Award winner, demonstrates a commitment to the offense, but it raises questions about defensive strategy. Stowers is undoubtedly a future asset, serving as a potential successor to Dallas Goedert. However, the Eagles could have easily addressed their defensive line earlier in the draft, which would have created a more balanced approach. And then there's the selection of quarterback Cole Payton in the 4th round, just a month after trading for veteran Andy Dalton. This decision feels baffling, as Payton now finds himself at best 4th on the quarterback depth chart. If Roseman was set on adding another quarterback, surely he could have waited until later in the draft to find a comparable talent. In conclusion, while the Eagles certainly made headlines on draft night, the decisions made during the latter rounds leave a lot to be desired. The potential for another NFC East title is there, but the lack of focus on the defensive front could come back to haunt them. As we look ahead to the upcoming season, the question remains, can this team truly compete if the defensive line struggles to keep opposing offenses in check? The answer will unfold as the 2026 season progresses. Now, let's transition to our next topic, where we'll dive deeper into the Eagles' roster decisions and their implications moving forward. The Philadelphia Eagles have made significant strides in the NFL draft, selecting 8 players who are poised to enhance an already formidable roster for the 2026 season. This draft wasn't just about filling spots. It was about bolstering the depth chart and ensuring that the team has the right pieces in place to contend for a championship. As the draft unfolded, speculation swirled regarding which positions the Eagles would prioritize and, more intriguingly, which players might find themselves on the chopping block as a result of new acquisitions. Now that the dust has settled, it's clear that certain players emerged as winners, while others may be facing uncertain futures. First off, let's talk about Jalen Hurts. If selecting a wide receiver in the 1st round and a tight end in the 2nd doesn't signal confidence in Hurts, then frankly, what does? The Eagles made a strategic move to add Makai Lemon, a slot receiver who brings a unique skill set that complements Hurts' game. With Devonta Smith and the potential trade of A.J. Brown, the Eagles are positioning themselves for a dynamic passing attack. Then there's Eli Stowers, drafted in round 2, who will serve as Hurts' T2 alongside Dallas Goedert. This move clearly indicates the Eagles' commitment to maximizing Hurts' abilities, particularly in the middle of the field, where both Lemon and Stowers can thrive. However, this also raises questions about the future of Calcaterra, who was previously positioned as T2. With Stowers now in the mix, Calcaterra's role is in jeopardy. The Eagles may choose to carry 4 tight ends, but given Calcaterra's struggles in blocking, it's hard to see him fitting into the plans, especially with 2 other capable pass-catching tight ends already on the roster. With a 1-year deal, his time in Philadelphia could be running out. Moving to the offensive line, it appears the draft board didn't fall in the Eagles' favor for securing an offensive lineman early on. This is a double-edged sword for Jack Steen, who will now face less competition at right guard but still needs to prove he can hold down the fort. The Eagles didn't select a guard until the 6th round, raising concerns about the depth on the interior line. Steen might be locked in as a starter for 2026, but one must wonder if the Eagles should have prioritized this position more in the draft. On the defensive side, Nolan Smith might see his playing time diminish with the arrival of Jonathan Greenwood, yet the Eagles have invested in his potential by picking up his 5th-year option. Smith remains a vital part of the rotation, but what does that mean for Ebiketie? The free agent signing could find himself as the 4th pass rusher in a competitive unit, but with a hefty contract of $4.3 million fully guaranteed, the pressure is on him to deliver. His ability to carve out a meaningful role will largely depend on his performance in practice and games, particularly on 3rd downs where he could excel. As for the safety position, the Eagles waited until the 7th round to make a selection, which seems to signal trust in Epps to start alongside Andrew Mukuba in Week 1. Epps has shown himself to be a solid player, but the decision not to draft a safety earlier raises eyebrows, especially given the free agent market's lack of viable options. The Eagles had a chance to draft Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the 2nd round but opted for Stowers instead, a decision that could come back to haunt them if Epps falters. As the Eagles move forward, these draft decisions will undoubtedly shape the team's trajectory. What do you think about these picks? Where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts on the Eagles' draft strategy? Let's keep the conversation going as we dive into the next segment.